So we'll go into a little bit of nerd culture. Obviously, in pop culture, any kind of movies, TV series, nerds pop up from time to time. Nerds! Starting with the Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, you could kind of relate with some of them kids if you had that kind of, I mean, obviously they were in college, but I mean, relate that with going through middle school. Middle school seems to be the roughest with probably being a nerd, because I think in elementary school,
I don't think anybody's really defined in middle school, so they're trying to make fun of the stereotypes.
Well, and even at that, not being defined, and I don't think the kids have got that meanness in them yet. I don't know what it is, but once they get into middle school, man, that ridicule just starts coming out of kids, and that's when kids get real mean. Point of all this is, though, nerdism, I guess, in pop culture. So obviously we got Big Bang Theory.
Yep.
That's a big, huge staple in our culture at the moment. We've had shows like King of the Nerds,
yep,
which, you know, pretty much classifies what we probably would standardize nerds.
Which I straight auditioned for.
Sweet. I thought about it. I think probably because I didn't have a way to record and edit a video to send in, but whatever.
It happens.
I was probably way too cool for that show anyways. But
just saying in retrospect.
They got to put some nerds on that show. Come on. But anyways, I guess just moving on to the whole point I'm bringing this up. How is it represented accurately? And I think that's probably the issue I got with any of it. I think sometimes it gets brought up in a way and it's just done inaccurately. Probably one of the biggest things is, let's go back to Big Bang. They're playing World of Warcraft. And maybe this is being nitpicky, but I still think it's inaccurate and it gives a false persona, I guess. But they're playing World of Warcraft. They're doing a raid, which obviously, first of all, the raid sounds ridiculous. It's like 1 million goblins running at them. But
yeah, you're arguing the semantics of the situation, but they're exaggerating a specific scenario just to make it more appealing to. Because like if they're like playing WoW and it's like, oh, we got one goblin. That goblin is a boss.
Yeah, but
and then people listen to them don't play World of Warcraft. Like, one thing.
I mean, to go on to I guess the episode though, then Sheldon runs in and gets a certain sword. He forgets the group, goes and gets a sword.
I think I remember this.
Yes, yeah. And then he hurts out and then puts it on eBay. And then Wallowitz buys the sword off eBay. Okay, now let me stop you right there. First of all,
bind on pickup
would have happened if it was that big of a sword. And World of Warcraft never let you sell anything on eBay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people get away with it, but at least in the beginning, they tracked that stuff and would ban accounts and stuff.
Right.
I think what they're doing is they're being fake about it in some way, the writers of the show. First, let me preface this by saying I love the Big Bang Theory.
Oh, I do too. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I watch it every night. It comes on TBS, 4-hour block. I'm watching it.
Yeah. But I think what they have to do is kind of exaggerate scenarios to make them seem more appealing. Or like the eBay thing, a lot of people know, oh, you sell stuff on eBay that's fake.
Right.
Or like you bought a $10 item online. 10 years ago, that was a big deal.
No, EverQuest.
Yeah, EverQuest.
That happened.
Man, that happened all the time. And then when you tell people, oh, I bought gold online, they're like, you paid money for fake gold?
Right.
Like, what's wrong with you? Same person 10 years later, or not 10 years, but like in 2004, WoW came out and they're like, I bought gold. Look at my horse. My mount's awesome.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't afford it anyway or otherwise. But so I feel like, yeah, sometimes they misrepresent things. Even if you're not talking about a specific thing or being semantic about it, I mean, they do misrepresent some things. Like some of the games they are playing, they may not be doing like I think they were playing D&D once, and it's like, what? That I don't know.
It was called something else, but pretty much the same thing.
I guess they are making up their own stuff, but
yeah. But I mean, it's just to go a little bit further in it, there was an episode where Sheldon was trying to give up decision making, so he started rolling in air quotes Dungeon and Dragon dice. Polyhedral.
They're used for a lot of things now.
Yeah, they're not specifically called dungeon. Nobody would call them Dungeon and Dragon dice. They're 10-sided, 4-sided.
For those people watching,
yeah. For you people, just go ahead and go. Keep that stereotype with these dice, I guess.
Right.
But he was using a 20-sided and a 10-sider, I think. But at the same time, it's polyhedral. That's not quite.
I mean,
and maybe that's nitpicking, but it does irk me when I see that.
It does irk you, yeah, because you're truly into a hobby that they're trying to represent, even though that like they're misrepresenting it.
Right.
And it's kind of just annoying sometimes to see, like on King of the Nerds, that was a big thing we were talking about one day, where on King of the Nerds, I don't know, they picked really stereotypical people to be nerds. Like,
right.
If you're not socially awkward, I mean, maybe I think there was a few that weren't.
There were some that had that really crazy social awkwardness, but yeah.
And the other thing is, like, I literally think the reason I didn't get picked was because I'm married.
And I think that also kind of went into, but I think in the last season they had a girl that was married.
How many was it?
They were running out of nerds, I guess.
Weren't there only 2 seasons? Oh, there was a third.
There was a third one, yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, they were like, oh, well. Blah.
Yeah. And I think there was actually a few other people throughout the 3 seasons that were actually married, but it didn't get brought up a whole lot, I don't think.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm not saying people have to walk around where you can stereotype them and tag them. And that's one thing we talked about last episode was, the title of nerd.
Right.
I don't really look at people and think, God, nerd. I actually don't even look at people and think hipster.
Right.
Right. Unless they make me mad. And then when I'm mad, I will yell a stereotype at you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, that's human nature. That's what we do.
Right. Yeah. Because we're judgmental. But I don't know. I just feel like sometimes they try to please the masses with the things they put in these shows.
Okay.
And the nerdy things they put in the shows and stuff. And some of it's probably product placement or whatever. But yeah, you're right. Dungeons and Dragons dice.
Right.
Because they're not used for anything else.
Yes.
And they find them in like some ancient Greek or Roman, ruins or something.
Right.
Like recently or whatever. They found a D20 that has like some crazy, I guess it was for an ancient Roman board game or something. Yeah, there's an article or something about it.
Okay. New to me.
And it's in a museum and stuff now. And it's kind of like, okay, yeah. Do you think they were playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Could have been. It was probably
that would be interesting.
Something in Minotaurs. I don't know exactly what it would have been, but it was Medusa and Minotaurs. I don't know.
Medusa and Minotaurs.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be a terrible challenge.
Well, I guess if it was Dungeons and Dragons, it'd been Labyrinth and Minotaurs.
Yeah, Labyrinth and Minotaurs. Get lost. And
it was probably the first ever known copy of Monopoly.
It was a roll and move game.
Yeah, it was a roll and move.
You roll it, and you can move up to 20 spaces.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, back to the nerd being represented. Now, I will say there's shows that, like, there was a show called Freaks and Geeks. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
No, I'm not.
And I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was actually set in a high school setting, but I found myself watching that and actually being able to relate with it really well. It kind of dealt with your nerdy group of kids, that how they interacted with a group of friends that was actually on the more popular side. It actually had Seth Rogen and played Green Goblin and Spider-Man. I
don't remember his name.
Yeah, James Franco. Is that right? I believe so.
James Franco?
I think so.
Let's say so.
Yeah.
This is our version of Spider-Man now.
Yeah, okay, whatever. They were in Train Spotting together. They're good buddies. They do a lot of stuff. They hang out and stuff. But anyways, it was kind of neat to watch. Franco, I believe, was a jock or something like that, or a stoner popular kid. And they invite him over to play Dungeons and Dragons. He actually has a lot of fun doing it because they told him we tend to be whatever we can't be in real life. So they're all like strong and big fighters and stuff. And I thought it was really neat that he picked a wizard that was really intellectual.
Unintellectual?
Intellectual. He had a lot of intellect and he was smart because he wasn't in real life. So I think, I don't know, it was just kind of a neat moment in that show.
It's kind of funny because that's like the opposite of everybody I've ever played D&D with, because in D&D, all they want to do is be chaotic evil and kill everyone the most inappropriate ways and just do chaos and stuff. I'm like, you can't be that in real life.
Right.
But do you really have a deep down, get out of my house. Yeah. I'm going to change my locks.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it is pretty cool. Like, I feel like if people that's one thing I do like about some characters or people when they play D&D is they play a character that they typically wouldn't play.
Right.
I almost feel like you should just randomize that because otherwise you're playing, like for me, I always play elves.
Yeah.
And with usually rangers and stuff like that. And I'm very typical with it. And board games, I always pick that. So I'm pretty typical. And most time I do like when it's forced on me to change. I don't get upset by it, but I don't naturally just go do that.
Right.
I think I'll play a dwarf this time.
Yeah.
I'm not into dwarves that much.
Yeah.
They're cool though. I like to have them on my side, but
I think in the several role-playing games that I got a chance to play, I think I actually tried to spice it up and be something a little different every time. So
that's the best way to do it. I mean, you learn a good skill set, but anyway, we're completely off topic now.
What's this got to do with Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, no, BBT.
Oh.
Anyway, so do you think it's a good thing that shows like Big Bang Theory and King of the Nerds or Freaks and Geeks or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think these are good things?
You know, it's funny because I've actually heard, I was in a game shop one time and I heard a teenager kid. He was very upset about Big Bang Theory and the way that, I don't know, it was kind of like, which I know I said it an episode or two ago about the struggle. And I think he felt like it was making nerds too much of a popular thing. But I don't know if he was almost taking a hipster attitude on it. I
think he is.
Yeah, so I don't know if he was more or less like going, well, being nerdy is kind of cool now, and that I want it to remain a unknown nerdy thing. And
people do that. That's where you come up with these people that talk about sellouts, right? In music, it's kind of like I don't want anybody to know about this band that I like. This band that I like's from middle Nevada or not Nevada. Middle of some Iowa or some state that people don't care about. I'm sorry, people, if you live there, but for the most part, it's not talked about, right? It's not like it's a New York or a Boston or a Phoenix or places where a lot of hardcore bands and stuff like that are from.
Right.
If it's some random place and there's really good bands from there, they always want it to be local. They want it to be their thing. And if they move on and be bigger, then it's like, I get jealous because other people know about it.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people do that with Big Bang Theory because they see stuff like this and it's like, well, I don't like Big Bang Theory because now they're doing a lot of things that me and my group do. And it just seems like my thing's taken away from me now.
That's true. I could see that. Yeah. A lot of people probably didn't even know there were comic book stores, and then they start seeing it. Or they have on the show and they realize that they're actually kind of cool and stuff. And there's a lot of things to do. It's entertainment. It's just another form of entertainment. And people think that people get the wrong ideas about this stuff. And it's kind of like they're playing Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, which I think is a really cool thing to put on the Big Bang Theory because there is a lot of people that still believe that they're playing Dungeons and Dragons for seances or trying to worship demons or they like Satan and things like that. And it's like, that's not the case, man. You can play a whole party of good characters trying to cleanse the world of a demon infestation. Right.
And if you want to put a completely underlying religious theme to it or whatever, then you pretty much have what's going on in the Bible.
Right.
I'm not trying to bring religion into this. I don't really like to talk about religion or my religious beliefs or anybody else's religious beliefs and stuff. But what I'm trying to say is you can't take something and tag it as demonic or tag it as whatever and without knowing anything about it.
Very true.
I think NASCAR is completely boring.
Well, a lot of times things get tags because people don't know anything about it, though.
I should probably finish this.
Sorry.
What does NASCAR have to do with this?
Junior, rawr!
Oh my God, left turns. So if you take NASCAR, I don't care about NASCAR. I never cared about NASCAR, but you know what I did? I watched many NASCAR races. Now I know a lot about it. And I know there's way more struggle in what they're doing in the car than I ever thought they were.
Oh, yeah.
They are actually, it is a physical workout. They are doing a lot. There's a lot of communication going on. There is actually a lot of strategy and things like that. I don't necessarily think it's entertaining to watch.
That's good racing right there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. NASCAR man. I like that NASCAR. Anyway, but the point is now I know about it. I am always an information gatherer. I'm going to learn about something and make my own decision about it rather than just shoot it off without, with just thinking what other people said.
Right.
So, and I don't even know what I was trying to get to with that entire statement.
I was just thinking this has been the most tangent-driven conversation we've done so far.
Hopefully it's entertaining.
Yeah.
But the point, the Dungeons and Dragons thing. That's what I was talking about. So they're playing Dungeons and Dragons in Big Bang Theory, and hopefully a lot of people see it's not demonic.
Yeah.
They have representing it. They're misrepresenting it as far as like semantics on what they're doing. You know, they made that part of the game, and they kind of said, you know, different things that they were being silly about it, very stereotypical about some of the things they said.
Right.
But at the same time, they weren't sitting there trying to worship demons in their living room with a Ouija board or something.
Right.
You know, I feel like they're at least exposing something to the mainstream media that hadn't been done before. Because other than the D&D movie, which I'm sorry, other than the D&D movie, what exposure would somebody have to Dungeons and Dragons other than playing it? All they hear about it is all the bad things that people say.
Yeah.
Oh, did you know Magic had an unholy strength card that had a pentagram in the background? People still talk about that crap, and that was beta, I think.
Wow.
Maybe alpha as well, or I think it was alpha and beta, and maybe revised or whatever. Like they took it out. They actually colored it in orange or something in the background and took it out of the game. Magic is not a demonic game, but it did have some symbols and stuff in the very beginning, and it's latched on as this massively demonic game that don't ever let your kid play it, otherwise they'll turn to the dark side.
Well, unfortunately, all the people that stand outside of Gen Con would disagree with you right now, but
Yeah.
I don't stand there long enough to listen to their side, so I can't really argue for them.
Oh, you talking about the protesters?
Yes, yeah, because that's pretty much everything they're saying is all that is some way. I feel like we're getting way too religious about this, but
Yeah, no.
Big Bane, Penny is hot.
I'm not even into blondes really.
Yeah.
Now we've just went from now we're just misogynist.
And a bunch of nerds are not going to get girls like they got. That ain't happening.
Man, you see that a lot though. I mean,
No, that's complete false statement. I'm joking on that one. It's
gullible.
Yeah, that's a joke, obviously. But
All right, anything else on this?
I would take Bernadette over Penny actually. So,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Y'all can have Penny. I want Bernadette.
Fair enough.